All right, man, we back. Motor City Sports Talk in the building. If you haven't heard the news early on today, excuse me, Antonio Brown will be suspended for the first 8 games, whatever team signed him. I do understand that at some point between now and last season, there has been some interest from Seattle Seahawks and a few other teams as well. So should the Detroit Pistons entertain bringing in Antonio Brown? Let's talk about it. Hit the subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. We had this conversation before, but knowing that if we sign him, he can go through training camp, get the playbook, but he missed the first 8 games of the 2020 season, if we have a season. So my whole thing about it is, if your back is truly against the ball, any natural feeling from any species is to react, to try to save your life, or to save the lives that you love. And for the most part, you never had that feeling with none of the Lions since, people since 2020 that I could, or 2000, excuse me, to 2020, that they never took a risk. And if the risk they take, they just don't make no sense. All right. And my whole thing about it is, it's hard to say if he has to sign with a team and go through the 8 games and miss the 8 games with the team and not as a free agent. It's tough because you want to see where you are as a team. If I'm speaking for the 32 teams in the NFL, probably 30 minus the 29 minus the Raiders, Steelers, and the Patriots. You're really looking at, all right, man, if he could just sit out the first 8 games without signing somebody. If I'm Baltimore, per se, or I'm Detroit, per se, and I'm sitting in a certain position where we in the playoff race, and we just need an extra oomph. You know what I'm saying? Or we just lost one of our receivers or prominent offensive weapons. Let's sign him. Or it could be a situation where, you know what? We wasn't as good as we was projected if we Baltimore. Let's go in there and plug in Antonio Brown. But if he has to be signed to a team for 8 weeks, then you have to take the risk off top. But really, depending on the financial and who you bidding against, I can't imagine you bidding against 29 other teams. You know what I'm saying? Because we know the Raiders, Patriots, and Steelers probably don't want the services back. So we know that. So if you the Lions, you can get him on an incentive-based deal where you don't face no dead money because the cap is supposed to come down next year. I have no issue with it. If Sheila's open to new things and she's open to bringing Kaepernick in, why not take a risk? You know what I'm saying? It just makes a lot of sense. People can say, well, we got Danny, we got Marvin, we got Kenny Galladay. And it would be a risk because what's the trade deadline around week 7 or 8? So you would have to be like, let's say the trade deadline is week 8. And you say, okay, we about to activate Antonio Brown. We know he's going to stay in shape. We know he's going to work hard. But we don't know mentally where he at. And we don't know over the 8-week period because we have to sign him. And he has to miss those 8 weeks to come on, from what I understand. We don't know if he's going to be on his best behavior. But let's just say come week 8, right before the trade deadline, whenever it is. You say, you know what? We probably not going to bring back Marvin Jones next year. Marvin Jones has been a speculation of trade the last 2 seasons. When he injured himself a couple of seasons ago, 2018 in training camp, and he wasn't good in 18, people were saying, oh, it's time to move on from Marvin. It's time to move on from Marvin. And I said, you know what? Marvin is still a great player. He's still a good player for us. He's one of Bob Quinn's best free agent pickups. And I told people, I said, and people don't really pay attention, he suffered an injury in training camp, and he wasn't the same. 2019, Marvin Jones came out and balled out. Had Stafford been able to stay healthy, Galladay and Jones would have been, Jones Jr. would have been 2 of the best, one of the best tandems in the league. You know what I'm saying? They probably, perhaps if they won more, both could have been on the top 100 list. Especially if you would have got something out of Hawkinson at some point. But this year they're able to hit the restart button and go on. But you're looking at week 8, say, okay, we ready to bring in Antonio Brown. Do you move on from Marvin Jones, knowing that you probably won't bring him back in 2021, and bring on Antonio Brown? Why not? The Eagles just lost Marquise Goodwin. I think Alshon Jeffrey's still over there, but he didn't really want to be in Philly. So at this point, it truly depends. But the Lions have never took risks, even if the risks are it's low and the reward is high. They just never took it. They more of injury risk type guys and mental risk type guys with Titus Young, Ryan Bros, size and speed risk type guys, or just speed or athleticism risk, and Tease Tabor and Amir Abdullah, Javid Best, they take more risks on injury prone players than anybody else. If you got a character issue after that year where they became like the jail lions with Bill Bentley and all these dudes were going to jail, they never wanted to take another chance. And thing that happened with Titus Young on character issue guys. But I remember they passed up on Janoris Jenkins late in the draft. But you have to have those wild and crazy people. I understand that it makes the organization look bad. But at this point, you haven't won a playoff game since 91. You know what I'm saying? So they already laughing at you. You know what I'm saying? So what type of reputation are you trying to keep? The Lions are a laughingstock amongst other teams. 0-16, haven't won a playoff game since 91. You know what I'm saying? And it reflects in a lot of the lists. We don't have top talent according to a lot of the media outlets, which I disagree. I think Kenny Golladay is one of the 8 best receivers in football. They say, he got to do it more than 1 year. Well, he had 1,000, receiving yards 2 years in a row. Chris Godwin didn't do that, but hey, not in my memory. But we just ain't been able to take those risks. And fuck it, it's at the point where it's like, you know what? Let's get ready to strap on our seatbelts and take some risks. If he go to jail, he do something stupid, you cut him. It is what it is. You cut bait with him. He come and ball out. Why not? Golladay, you keep Danny or you keep Jones and Antonio Brown. Stafford is probably be unstoppable. That probably help out your run game. So I'm always been a part of, if we ain't won in a long time, I'm taking the risk. Now, certain risks I ain't taking. It's certain guys that I wouldn't risk it that's past their prime or that's just too much of a high risk. Antonio Brown showed he work hard and, hopefully, it does work out for him. I want the best for him. Does he do some ignorant stuff and say some ignorant stuff? Yes. He's an entitled, he's spoiled. He's been given the G-Pass his whole career for being a football player. But at this point, you look at Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia's jobs, even though they not on the line this year, and I've been saying it, they're not on the line. A lot of people, they disagree with me. Sheila said that it's basically an asterisk by this season because of the COVID, and she willing probably to give them another chance. I'm paraphrasing. So, their job per se is not on the chopping block, but me personally, I would take a chance on them. Especially if I'm Seattle, I'm Baltimore, you know what I'm saying? I'm one of those teams that's pretty much on the cusp, or if I'm Arizona and I feel that we could take the next step with Kyler Murray and Patrick Peterson, kind of getting older, and we got Larry Fitzgerald that's, turning his last little leaf over, and DeAndre Hopkins. Why not add Antonio Brown to that? Y'all held down the Honey Badger. They got the right veterans in the locker room, and he's turned his life around. He's had a tremendous career. He's one of the highest paid safeties. So, that's just my opinion on the whole thing, man. I would like to see Antonio Brown get another chance per se. Do he deserve another chance? Yes. Everybody deserves multiple chances as long as you don't hit it with the death blow. I mean, there's been people in the National Football League that's committed murder. And I'm not saying nobody's name. It's multiple guys that's committed murder and still resume their career. You know what I'm saying? And these are the facts. They talking about what Ray Rice did was terrible. It's some people that's, look up these stories under Paul Tagliabue that's committed stone cold murder. And that's why they brought in Roger Goodell to clean up the act. But then again, all Roger Goodell did was amplify and magnify what goes on off the field. And also with him coming in, it just wasn't him. Social media has changed the game. Under the majority of Paul Tagliabue's tenure as commissioner before Roger Goodell, wasn't no social media. Maybe it was MySpace, but every little thing that you do is on everybody's mind. You know what I'm saying? Every little thing that you do in the National Football League, that you do in the public eye, no such thing as privacy. And if I was an athlete, I would move like James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. I wouldn't have no social media, no nothing. I mean, even with Kawhi Leonard not having no social media, you see him in a strip club trying to enjoy yourself and people record. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves when I'm out and about or I'm chilling at the crib. When somebody want to go Instagram live record something, like, keep it moving, bro. Like, that's childish to me, dog. Can we just not kick back and have a good time in privacy? And, somebody trip and fall, somebody recording, some girls fight, they record everything in this generation and just dry snitch. But for Antonio Brown, I'm taking the risk. We might disagree, and I respect everybody's opinion as long as you don't get disrespectful. But I'm taking the risk. The Lions need to take a huge risk. They need to take a chance. They didn't take a risk they never take risks in the drafts, not the good risk type of risk. They always take these conservative risks or these injury prone risks. And taking Jeff Okudah was very conservative. You know what I'm saying? He might turn out to be the greatest cornerback of all time. Who the hell knows? You know, but they never take the risk. Bob Quinn has been the most conservative drafter of all time. And guess what? His results right now is worse than Martin Mayhew's results. They both took stupid risks on tight ends around the same range. You feel me? You know, he took a risk on an unathletic cornerback that if you run a 4.7, ain't no way I'm drafting you in a man scheme or whatever scheme that Terrell Austin was running. It was more complex, or it was more multi-dimensional than what Matt Patricia's running. You know what I'm saying? Mayhew had his best draft when Xanders came in, Brian Xanders, but with Bob Quinn, it's just the same results. You know, he drafted a Pro Bowler in Kenny Galladay. I think he drafted a great center in Frank Ragnow. And Martin Mayhew has some really good picks. You know, I think Matthew Stafford was one of them, if my memory serves me correctly. And Ndamukong Suh was one of them. Calvin Johnson was a Matt Millen pick. So just thinking of him, he drafted high, and you know he has some really good picks down the line. You know what I'm saying? Some good picks down the line. You know what I'm saying? Quadre Diggs was another good pick. Darius Slay was a really good pick. He just refused to pull the trigger on the cornerback, being a former defensive back in his league. And Bob Quinn has had some solid picks. I mean, I love the Galladay pick. You know, love the Ragnow pick in hindsight. So, you know, Martin Mayhew had his own little thing, how he drafted, but the results are same. No really superstars on the team. Not enough to turn it around. And, they're making the same mistakes. They had two different agendas to draft, but neither one of them took the big risks on players. And a lot of that is reflective of, people saying that the Fords are cheap and don't want to spend to bring people here. And it's indicative in what Ndamukong Suh negotiations how they went about, where Ndamukong Suh wanted more money to stay in Detroit because he knew he wouldn't get the credit, or they didn't have the amenities in Detroit that they had in Miami. He wouldn't get the credit nationally. So he chose not getting the credit nationally in Miami and enjoyed his time in Miami. So, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. I'm a yay on Antonio Brown. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. Keep sharing the videos. Appreciate the love, support. Hope you guys enjoying the NBA coming back. I'm definitely enjoying it. Enjoyed it last night, enjoying it today. I was just watching Portland and Memphis. They kind of going back and forth. So appreciate this love. Appreciate the support. Want to make a donation, share the video. The Cash App, PayPal is in the description. And let me know what you guys think about the video. Would you take a chance on Antonio Brown or not? I respect everybody's opinion in the comment section that keeps it respectful. And don't get too disrespectful. Don't get disrespectful at all with nobody. But y'all know what it is. One time for the one time Mercy Sports Talk. We're going to